I've been working in the field of data for 30 plus years, and most of it has been in educational settings. And one of the things I have found is that as we get so used to looking at data, what we end up doing is reducing data to rows and columns. And we look at rows and columns and we forget what each row represents. Typically, each row represents a student or a teacher or a principal or another entity that we might be studying. But when we look at it in terms of rows and columns, what happens is that we've lost the human being at the end of that row because we start slicing and dicing and we look at little bits of information. It takes a little bit of effort to think about the numbers that we see and connect them to the actual human being who's at the end of those numbers and what that means in terms of the story of that individual. Because it's when we truly understand the story that we can help the student or support the teacher or coach the principal. So my thinking is that we need to pause, look at the data, but connect the data to the humanity, to the human beings that are at the end of that data. They should be at the beginning of the data. And then we look at all of the different stories that data tell us. As soon as a student walks into a school system, there are data about him or her that get connected. Where does the student live? What is the family income? How old is the student? What is the student's ethnicity? Is the home language something other than English? When the student settles into a classroom, more data get attached. Did the student attend school today? Did the student misbehave? Sent to the principal? Did the student do well on teacher-made tests? Does student have special needs? Does the student need an intervention? Similarly, copious amounts of data are collected about educators, the teacher's educational background, certification, endorsements. These are a few examples. Attendance, continuing education credits, effectiveness ratings are other examples. We may also have information about the standards that teachers teach and the content they cover when they're teaching in a classroom. As you can see, school systems have immense amounts of data. But what happens to that data? Have you ever wondered? I have. In most schools, all the disparate data elements are stored in different and often unconnected systems. So the data in student information system may not connect to the student's summative assessment or formative assessment data or disciplinary data. Likewise, teacher background data may not be connected to their instructional data. It's really hard to get the story of the data in silos. To really understand how to help students do better in schools, we need to have an integrated picture of the information. It's when we have an integrated picture that we can truly understand what the students need and a richer understanding of their story. When we consider using all available data, we have to ask ourselves, what purpose does the data serve? Who are the end users, and what questions are they trying to answer? In my view, the central mission of schools is to make sure that students have optimal supports and environmental conditions for teaching and learning. To make decisions, districts and schools need reports on leading indicators to have a course correction. Data-based reports, therefore, need to be tailored to your audience. A district superintendent might get a broad strokes report. A principal may get a finer grained report. Classrooms may require an even more finer grained report.